Welcome to the Weaver Sews. I'm Daryl Lancaster. There are so many simple fixes when a garment pattern doesn't quite work. The hardest part is to identify when a garment pattern doesn't work, especially if the problem is in the back where you can't see. When I would teach garment construction classes, the first information I give is about simple fixes for fit issues, and the first thing we always talk about is the back neck. Most important is to understand how anatomy plays an integral role in how things fit and hang. We addressed this briefly in the past couple of videos, but I'll spend a little more time explaining what the C7 vertebra is and how it is the balance point for all garments. Unless you are particularly fleshy in the back neck or have had some kind of cervical surgery, if you bend your head forward, you'll feel a small bone protrude at the base of the back neck. This is called the C7 vertebra. If you wear a necklace, it will cross the C7 vertebra. So that's another good way to find where it's located. I said that this is the balance point for all garments. What that means is when you put a garment on with a seam across the back neck, you automatically seat the garment so that the seam bisects the C7 vertebra. It's an unconscious thing that we do, but all clothing balances from that point. So any collars like turtleneck, bands, or whatever will stand up from that position. Problems begin to occur when the back neck of the garment is not cut to bisect the C7. There can be a couple of reasons for this: poor drafting of the pattern and age of the body of the wearer. So let's start with the first issue, poor drafting. This tool is called a French curve. I'm not exactly sure why and what's French about it, but that's what it's called. This little group of French curves, usually found at office supply stores or places that sell drafting supplies, is composed of many different segments of the Euler spiral. That's spelled E-U-L-E-R, also called the clothoid curve. They were invented by the German mathematician Ludwig Burmester and are also known as the Burmester curve set. That's B-U-R-M-E-S-T-E-R. We'll use the largest of the set. The midpoint of the curve at the small end is the shoulder, and the back neck gently curves down and level across the back. There is little drop between the two, and there is no scoop the way we think of at the back neck. Sweater knitters know that the back neck is usually just a cast off and not an actual scoop. So what happens when an inexperienced pattern maker creates a back neck that doesn't intersect with the C7? Take a look at this jacket that I've put on the dress form and observe that I have placed the back neck seam line across the C7. The entire back of the garment hikes up, creating an uneven hemline and very distorted grain lines. The goal of any garment is to maintain the grain lines, horizontal and vertical, in relationship to the floor. So in this case, because the jacket was cut on the lengthwise grain, all of the weft threads, or the crosswise grain, should be parallel to the floor. They arc up in a rather undignified way. If I were to pull them into alignment, a light bulb should go on to illustrate where the problem actually occurs. The back neck seam does not actually bisect the C7, and therein lies the problem. So measure how far the seam line is from the C7. If I remove the jacket from the form, lay it flat, and take a look at the back neck with the French curve, the problem becomes abundantly clear. The back neck scoops way down into the upper back. This is an easy correction. Just raise the scoop so it bisects the C7. I'll measure up from the center back the amount that I need to reach the C7 and indicate a new cutting line. Move any markings that indicate the center back up as well. Use the French curve to taper that flat cutting line into the shoulder. I'll also want to move the seam line. Of course, that will mean that any piece that attaches to that back neck, facings, collars, bands, etc., will now have to be redrawn to fit what is now a smaller circumference. Rather than come up with some complicated mathematical equation, I'll just walk one piece against the other and adjust the fit. I found that if I made the collar or neckband an 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters smaller in circumference on each side of the center back neck, that the fit is nice and snug on the back neck. The jacket neck seam line will ease nicely into the collar or band, especially in a hand woven. So that leaves the other reason, age. Sadly, when we age and our bones thin, our posture tends to curve inward instead of just floating down, which lengthens the back neck and rounds the shoulders. And those with exceptional height might find that the back neck is longer than the pattern allows, since most patterns are designed for women with a height of 5'5" or 5'6", or 1.65 to 1.68 meters in mind. The fix I showed can help with that issue, but there's an even better fix for those with very rounded upper backs. Start by slicing directly across the upper back shoulder blades, starting from the center back fold line about 4 inches or 10 centimeters down below the back neck seam line. Straight across to, but not through, the armhole or armscye seam line. You'll want to clip the armhole seam allowance to allow the pattern to move freely on that little hinge. To create length in the upper back and maintain grain lines without affecting the armhole, which has nothing to do with the back neck, we also need to create shape. So cut from the center of the shoulder, perpendicular to the shoulder line, down to the horizontal cutting line that you just made. Again, cut to but not through that line. As we raise the back neck, creating space horizontally across the shoulders, a dart opens up at the shoulder line. How much to raise up the upper back depends on how much distance you need to reach the C7. Start with 1/2 inch or 1.2 centimeters and add more if necessary. The finished length of the shoulder dart should suit your curve probably 3 to 4 inches or 7.5 to 10 centimeters is fine. This fixes a lot of issues in the back neck area and changes the way a garment hangs by a lot. Note that we haven't changed the neck circumference, we haven't touched the armhole, and by stitching the dart back together, we create length and shape across the upper back. And this allows the grain lines to actually lay parallel to the floor. And there's no need to alter any of the companion pieces. Once the back shoulder dart is sewn closed, the back shoulder will fit the front shoulder and all should be well. Of course, you'll want to test out your altered pattern in a test garment. Spread the upper back more or less to custom fit your shape. We will look at other ways to custom fit patterns to your body shape in future videos. I'm Daryl Lancaster for the Weaver Sews.